You're listening to Elevate, the official podcast of Elite Agent magazine for real estate industry sales professionals, property managers and leaders. Each episode we bring you behind the scenes coaching, news analysis, exclusive interviews, technology and more to help you list more, sell more and elevate your results. To subscribe to the magazine, visit eliteagent.com.au/subscribe. Here is your host, Samantha McLean.
Hey, Samantha McLean from Elite Agent Magazine, proud to bring you our weekly news recap for the week of the 20th of October. This week we're going to talk innovation, a different way of listing that converts really, really well, what was and wasn't news and what trended over the week. And as always, I have Mark Edwards here with me along for the ride today.
Hey Sam, how's it going today?
Really well, thanks.
Excellent. And we've also got another guest with us this week. It's one of our Lucky Six challenges from Transform Masters, and that's Kaly Smith from Kay's Property Solutions in Albury, down on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. And if you're out of sync with our Facebook page at the moment, she's here because she's nailed that random act of kindness challenge we set last week, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, so Kaly, tell us what you did for the random act of kindness challenge earlier this month.
October is Infant and Pregnancy Loss Month, and our challenge was sort of in the first week of October, and I thought what a fitting way to, help others. So Angel Gowns Australia is a non-for-profit organisation that create beautiful little gowns for families that have lost their little babies, too soon. So it's a way to send off these little angels in something that's made especially for them with love and care. It was quite close to my heart. I did lose my brother when he was only 12 hours old, and I know the grief and suffering it caused my family, and still does to this day.
What's happened now is that the call to action was for people to send you their wedding gowns, and well, on the weekend you'd already received 60 gowns. What number are you up to at the moment?
I'm incredibly up to 82 gowns. So my community have really got behind this and have seen what a great initiative it is. And yeah, it's just amazing to be able to do that for such a wonderful foundation.
An awesome effort there from Kaly.
Oh, yeah, really awesome effort there from Kaly. I mean, look, she's one of the lucky six, not one of the super six, and she's really sort of, thrown it down in all of the challenges this week. So, there was a couple of other things that were out. First of all, on the podcast, we had Tara Bradbury.
Yeah, that was a great session, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, it sort of went back. Actually, Tara and I went down memory lane from when we first met each other, when she was winning these BDM competitions that had been sort of run by Rock End at the time. And, we went sort of back over that how she actually got into coaching and training. And I mean, Tara went through all of her best lead sources. So,
there were some crackers there, weren't there?
Tradies, who to thunk it, the tradie network is actually a good source of management. Tara's session was fantastic, and Tara has got this 6-week acceleration challenge going on at the moment. She threw that one down to all the transformers, and guess who picked it up?
Yeah, Kaly picked it up.
Kaly picked it up.
Right amongst it.
Right amongst it. Yeah. And, so that was fantastic to see. And, Kaly's just a startup. She's sort of gone out on her own in the last...
She's not holding back, is she?
She's not holding back. And I mean, the other thing we had this week is we had Amy Engelman in from Beepo.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people took a lot away from that session, particularly how it can actually create additional capacity in your business so you can focus on those dollar productive activities.
What's interesting is, Kaly's picked up on that one too.
Because a lot of people got this misconception that outsourcing is only for like a larger enterprise.
Yeah.
And Kaly, with being a sort of startup in her own right, she's using the outsourcing as the opportunity to be able to create that additional capacity in her business without having to bring on a full-time local staff.
Yeah, exactly. So can't wait to see what she does in the next few weeks, because I have no doubt she's going to get to Shark Tank. So as you know, we've sort of set the final challenge now.
Tell everybody about the Shark Tank.
Yeah, so for the Super Six, when we did Transform earlier in the year on the way to ARIC, they had 15 minutes to do a listing presentation in front of John McGrath and Monica too. Yeah, they were all, sort of, I would say, can I say shitting themselves?
Well, we had Jet in there to try and calm them down.
We had Jet in there to
we?
calm them down, but this time, they're business owners, right? So they're leaders. We've constructed this thing called Shark Tank, and
probably all know what it means.
Yeah, so they're going to have to the top 8 out of the 12. So 4 will miss out, but they'll go in front of 4 sharks. and present why they should invest $5,000 in their business, and the prize at the end is $5,000.
It's a really interesting concept because throughout this program, throughout Transform Masters, they're being challenged to actually look at their business in a different light, to put on a different set of glasses and look through it through a microscope or a different lens as to what their business is.
Yeah, and forward plan. So, like if I was going to invest $5,000, like it's a good challenge, really. I think like Fiona Blaney helped me come up with this one, is that if you were given $5,000 by an investor, a shark, what would you do with it that would impact the most? And after this 12 weeks of all these lessons with different people, our leaders should have a very good idea of what is going to impact the most, whether it's community, whether it's marketing, whether it's outsourcing, whether it's, because we've sort of been running the whole gamut of this stuff. So I can't wait to see what they do with that either.
Look, in isolation, for some people, $5,000 may not be a lot,
but for some
people it is.
Yeah.
And if you're able to use that cash for things that you would typically not. You would put on the back burner because you don't really feel as though, so that's a priority in your business. But it could be a game changer for some people.
Well, we've talked about this before on this show, is that, like sometimes with marketing too, real estate is a game of ones. The right blog post attracts the right seller, and the blog post has cost you $50, $100, $200 to write, depending on who you're having write it for you. And it ends up in a decent sized commission. You're playing a game of ones.
Exactly.
So, imagine if you were very smart in using that $5,000, whether you could turn it into managements or listings or whatever, then, I can't wait to see what they do.
It's going to be very interesting. So a big thank you to Kaly and all our transformers, coaches, sponsors, and you, the audience, for your involvement and for keeping the community, the questions and your engagement up. So
and of course, come along to How to Lead a Winning Team in 2018 if you want some tips on leadership yourselves. And we will be announcing the winner at that event. So and we're getting close. It's like 3 or 4 weeks away.
3 weeks on Tuesday. So get amongst it all. So how about we just switch over to the news, Sammy?
Yeah, it's about time we sort of got down to business, isn't it?
Exactly. Look, I actually just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, or just give you the opportunity to be able to have your own say on what we publish out there in on a daily basis.
So it might seem to you guys out there that it was a bit of a slow news week, in that we sort of didn't. We chose. There was a few stories that we chose not to put out there, and I suppose like sometimes, or what you choose not to put out there is as important as what you do, or even how you put things out there. So, as far as the news is concerned, if it's a slow news, if it is a slow news week, we're not going to sort of go publishing, the unsafe work practices of Bob the Builder or anything like that, like a current affair does during the summer. We're sort of going to focus on quality content like Transform and other stuff that we do. But there was a few things that happened this week that we chose not to focus on.
So what do you look out for when you make those decisions?
Well, we get a lot of media releases into our newsroom ticketing desk, and so 2 weeks ago we got a news release from McGrath, for example, saying that they terminated contracts with 3 of the franchisees in Wollongong.
In the Illawarra, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to write a story around something like that when that's the only information.
And keep it positive.
Yeah, and keep it positive when that's the only information that you're given and the reasons are undisclosed. It's difficult to call that news, even, even when you're sort of scratching around on a slow news day. The other thing is, I suppose, these sorts of things are always three-sided, you've got one person's side, you've got the other person's side, and
somewhere
what's really going on is, and that's often what, if a news release comes across our desk, there's this editor for Recode actually in Silicon Valley that I follow a lot, and she was on Tim Ferriss's podcast, and she says I
remember that. Yeah,
whenever she sees a news release come across her desk, she says, I like to think to myself, what are they up to? And I guess I do. I do the same too.
Innocent, isn't it? Though?
Yeah, I look at these things and I think, oh, what are they up to? Like something is about to happen.
What's the story behind this?
Yeah, and of course, this week we saw that those same 3 franchises have gone across to the agency. And so knowing that there's this double-edged thing to it is like any relationship, you know, one door closes, one door opens, one person might be happier than the other, one person might be, you know, not so happy. And, you know, I think
it's a game of wins and losses, isn't it?
Yeah, it swings and roundabouts. And, you know, like you do see a lot of agents moving at this time of the year.
What'd you call it the other day? The great agent
migration.
The migration.
But yeah, so I guess the thing with all of that is that on one side, you know, someone's happy, on another side, someone's sad. And I don't think it's up to us to, you know, put that out there, because I just think it creates conflict.
No, look, it does. I think, you know, but there are other ways to be able to report these. I mean, Eddie Piddington from who was Clark and Hummel, moving over to Stone. Again, loss on one side, win on the other, or you know, as you say, the scales balance. But I think there was another story that we dug in underneath that, which Hazel wrote very nicely about.
Well, yeah, Eddie's a great agent, like number one, and you know, and he's been trained well, and you know, he's worked with some good people. He's got a good team, and so we chose to focus on that, on tips from Eddie, on, you know, like what he sees as being his success, rather than perhaps the other side of the story, which is losing one, gaining one. Like I sort of think it's tough, because, you know, there's going to be one group over here going, yay, and there's another person over here going, oh God, you know, like not another one. So so that's kind of, I guess we're taking a bit of a different approach to that moving forward because of that reason.
Yeah, and look, there was some other news that came across the desk as well.
Oh yeah, local agent finder, changing their fee structure. So I definitely looked at that one and thought, what are they up to? And we've had some robust conversations about that's
a way to describe it.
Robust.
Robust.
I've had robust conversations with a lot of people about, you know, what Lisa B calls we're not going to call them disruptors. Lisa B calls them the interceptors. And
that's a great definition.
It's a great definition, the interceptors. And, you know, so I looked at this release, and they're quite polarizing for our audience, these guys. So again, do we go for the cheap click and publish something that we're not completely sold on, or do we sort of, you know, let it through to the keeper? And, you know, like, and I looked at this, and there was big headline, you know, local agent finder changes fee structure. And I thought, what are they up to? And then, you know, like on reading it further and sort of consulting with you know, like, let's just say the Brains Trust, because we're quite close to a few sort of senior people in the industry. You know, really, they haven't broadly changed the fee structure. It's just they've changed the fee structure above.
For the 800 and above bracket.
Yeah, for the 800 and above bracket or something like that, to a flat rate. Now, for free, I'm going to tell you what I feel about this. I'm not convinced that for the money that they take, that the service is worth it. You know, there are two sides to this story. So one side is that, you know, like, let's just say I don't want to do any marketing. Like, you know, like I couldn't be bothered with social. I don't want to blog. I'm not out in the community. I'm, you know, like, all I want to do is Google and, let's say, local agent finder or Open8, choose one of them. So in terms of ROI, if you can sort of say, well, you know, like, if they give me one lead and I don't have to do any other prospecting, job done, you know. But what
type of service are you providing? Yeah,
well, what I was about to say is, what sort of message are we giving the agent community when, you know, like this podcast is called Elevate, right? What sort of message would we be giving the community if we were to sort of advocate that instead of go make friends with the community? Be part of the community. You know, think back to Macca's lesson in Transform last year, and really, you know, like he's right. You know, like the industry created the problem, and I use hairdressing as an example because, you know, like us females, we're prone to, you know, like going to the same hairdresser. So if I'm in a local area and I want to get my hair done and you're my hairdresser, I am going to go to you. Like, I'm never going to look at anyone else because I know you, I like you, I trust you, you do a good job. If I move areas and I don't know any hairdressers in that area, I'm probably going to go to Google.
Or you're going to ask somebody for a referral. or for a recommendation.
Yeah. So but my point is
land the plane, Sammy.
My point is that if I don't know someone, that's when I go to Google, and that's where your interceptors hang out is on Google, gaming the AdWords.
Getting to page one, top of the list. Where do you go?
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't done all that stuff on local search and all the rest of it, then, again, it might have a place there. But if we were to sort of start advocating that rather than sort of building trust in the community, then I don't know. Does that speak to our credibility? Anyway, it's probably not a question we're going to answer today, but, there are definitely different sides to the story. And just to sort of wrap that up, I guess, one of the other articles that trended this week was by Rob Ward, who's the CEO of Di Jones.
Yes, yep.
They just won the REI New South Wales Large Agency Award.
They did. Congratulations.
Yeah, so congratulations to Rob and the team. And well deserved. We met those guys over at Inman, and Rob said, I came over here to sort of work out
his dad with him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was delightful. But, so he was sort of saying, I've come over here to sort of figure out what's next, as we all do. We all make that pilgrimage over to San Francisco to work out, what's coming.
Yep. And I've likened it to the fashion industry, whereas, sort of they're a season ahead of us at times.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit like that, I think, because generally when things happen in America, they happen over here too. But so, yeah, I mean, look, Rob quite rightly said, the industry's got to work together. I think for the greater good, it's sort of about collaboration. Even, there've been lots of people who have been advocating the same thing. And I think he's right, to sort of beat those disruptors, interceptors, whatever. Yeah. It's about working together, and it's about, lifting the game in general.
Speaking of lifting the game, you stumbled across a fabulous little piece in your newsfeed the other day that you threw up online with a bit of nostalgia from John McGrath.
I knew you were looking over my shoulder. Yeah, so that was probably one of the happier moments of the week. So if you've ever sort of wondered or doubted why they used John McGrath and the word legend in the same sort of sentence, then you need to have a look at this video. Yeah. It's from 1999, and I think John might have been the last or the second last New South Welshman to have won the Australian Auctioneering Championships back
Probably
then.
About the same time as the New South Wales rugby league team won the State of Origin as well.
Yeah. I watched this video, and, John, as a young auctioneer, in the finals, can I say handsome?
Man, he knew his stuff, didn't he?
I'm guessing that's a no.
No.
I'm guessing that's a no. But look, I just think I watched that, and I don't think I've seen anything better to this day. I've watched a lot of auctioneers, and the poise, the presence, the performance,
a performance, wasn't it?
So
it was
sure
incredible.
of himself. I got goosies. I'm getting goosies now. But I just thought that was amazing. And yeah, if you haven't seen John in action as an auctioneer, then you need to watch that.
Yep.
Very inspirational.
Link in the show notes below.
So what else this week? Well, here's one of our favourite times of the year is coming up, not just Christmas, but it's Pimp My Shopfront time again.
Back again, isn't it?
So, it's not Pimp My Ride, it's Pimp My Shopfront, courtesy of Vitrine Media.
Yeah, so Mike Towell and the guys over there have stumped up again for another $10,000 makeover of a shopfront. Last year's winner was First National in Gerringong. Jason and the boys down there, or the whole team down there, saw that transformation of the front of the shop. Did a bit of a time lapse on the whole process, which is on the competition application page.
Yeah.
leadagent.com.au/shopfront.
Yep.
And it was absolutely incredible when the lights were turned on after sort of the few hours of doing the installation. You could actually physically see the foot traffic. I mean, Gerringong is a beautiful
it's like rubbernecking, isn't it? What are they doing?
Yeah, then when the lights came on, people were just they were visibly moths to a flame. It was incredible, just seeing sort of people just gravitating towards the light.
So if you feel like that your shopfront could do with a bit of a makeover, all you have to do really is go to that webpage, eliteagent.com.au/shopfront, and upload a photo of your existing shopfront and give us a little bit of a sob story, because
We love a sob story.
we love a sob story on why your shopfront needs making over.
We've had a couple of crackers in so far.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people with a good sense of humour send in entries. You've got a couple of weeks to do so, and then we'll announce the 8 finalists in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, so
Yep.
get into it, get amongst it.
$10,000 worth. Get amongst it.
Switching tunes a little bit, we also had a session, well, a mini-series.
A mini-series, yeah. It was
Everyone
all
loves a
like
mini-series, don't they?
like the Thornbirds, but different. Like, it's not
Exactly the same,
Well,
but
actually, not like that at all. But it was a
Look,
mini-series.
It is
yeah.
a serious topic, because this is on the back of the tragedy that happened in New Zealand back in July, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
With Wendy Campbell and her daughter caught up in that.
devastating. Yeah.
So we've let the dust settle on this one a little bit, but when it did happen, we got together with our very good friend Fiona Blaney.
Yep.
And did a little series just based on sort of safety and property management.
Yeah, just great dialogue and stuff there from Fiona, who is actually really concerned for the safety of, as we all are, of everyone, because when you're dealing with the public and people don't know where you are, we've all heard the horror stories. And, just some interesting dialogue about trusting your gut and stuff like that. So, if you walk up to a property and your gut's not feeling good, you say something like, I've just left something in my car. And go back to your car and get out.
Look, there's a lot of really good tips and ideas that you can keep in the back of the mind if you do find yourself in the situation where you're not sure that it is the right place to be, or the right situation, or the right time. So there's three very short little videos there. So check them out, and it may just sort of give you the information you need in one day.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was fantastic. And the other, there's some other stuff that's sort of been trending online this week too, which we'll just quickly run through before we wrap it up for the week. Ray White, the innovators. So this was another story, actually, oddly enough, that came out of Inman.
Well, yeah, and I suppose this is our annual tech and innovation issue, which is just hitting desks at the moment around the country for Elite Agent magazine. And you did an interview with Jason and Kaly from Ray White.
From Ray White, yeah. I met Jason at Inman, and we sort of bonded over a mutual background in technology. I think he used to work for part of Optus, which we all used to work for. And it was really interesting, sort of getting to know what he's been doing at Ray White, because basically he sort of steers the direction of technology and marketing. And technology basically, in days gone by, they, the nerds would be down in the back corner and the marketing would be in the front office, and they didn't have to really talk to each other. You had madmen and over this side and nerds over that side. But basically what's happened now, because of the whole digital scene, is that they've really, technology and marketing are kind of, almost one in the same department. And so, like I sort of asked Jason about his approach to marketing, like what is it that you actually do? And he said, well, my job really is to put more of our people face to face with qualified leads that are ready to do business. That's my job.
He also had a really interesting approach to it as well, wasn't it? In that,
well, my favourite question for technology people is always this: how do you decide, with all of the shiny objects out there, how do you decide which one to pursue?
They can all be very shiny and very interesting.
Well, because it's an interesting question, because I'm sure it's something we struggle with it. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other businesses out there, do you go this way, do you go that way, or whatever?
Do I publish this? Do I not publish it? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Jason said, well, that's a very good question. And what we do is we start with the testimonial that we want to achieve in mind, which is actually pretty clever. So basically that means if you want someone to say that that the communication was great from start to finish, that you got a premium price for the property, that you were professional, that the team was think
happy
about
to give a testimonial, happy to be a referral.
Yeah, and now I'm going to refer you to my friends. So think about that testimonial that you want to receive, and then work back as to what steps do I need to take or what sort of a journey do I need to take this customer on? There's that word, journey. I love that word. I don't love that word. But there's a, so what sort of a journey do I need to take the customer on to get that testimonial and then work out what the tools are I need.
It's not just throwing tools at the problem, at a situation, hoping to create to fix a problem. It's actually
strategically doing that. And I mean, look, like Ray White invests a heck of a lot of money in technology. They've sort of got
a massive IT department,
60 people, and and it shows like they're well thought out, and that article's really worth a good hard read. Good hard look at it. Also in Ray White land, I think this was the most popular article of the week, and something that I love and is one of my personal hobby horses was Rachel Laurie.
Yeah, it was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, from Ray White, North Adelaide. Now she is like a real go-getter, and I really love talking to her. So she has a near perfect appraisal to list ratio, and there's two things that she focuses on. One is community. She invests a heck of a lot of money into sports clubs and all that sort of stuff. The second is this secondary qualification that she has in addition to her real estate qualifications, which is a livability qualification. Now, I don't know if you remember, but livability was born under the LJ Hooker banner.
Yep.
They let it go.
It was actually picked up by the CSIRO.
Well, CSIRO bought it.
Yeah.
Now, like obviously the country's national scientific organisation buying the thing means that there's something in it, right?
Which is interesting because the majority of the time CSIRO are usually the curators of innovation themselves. So for them to be able to see something, say,
did you mean curator or creator? Creator. Yeah.
Creator.
Normally they do the inventing. It's very rare that they pick up something. So this livability thing is there's 17 things that allow you to market a property according to these livability features, which as consumers I think we're all looking for these days. So number one is we all want to reduce our ongoing running costs.
And that's particularly relevant in South Australia, isn't it?
Well, yes, because they've got like one of the highest costs of power in the world, and that's why Elon Musk is down there with his, battery packs trying to put together some sort of a solution down there.
Cooking them all up,
And then there's the question of, well, like I want to be more comfortable in my home, so like you're looking at sort of glazing on windows and things like that. And the other thing is, like I actually want to reduce my footprint.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand this being a trend right now, you need to get on board because it's only going to get, not just in South Australia, and ACT have always been very environmentally conscious, and they've sort of had star ratings for buildings and stuff. This is not a star rating, but this allows you to market the property to say it has these features which improve livability.
And it's like sort of endorsed or validated by the CSIRO, so through the program. You've likened this to the new home staging.
Well, yeah, I think this is the home staging of the future. And I asked Rachel about what she does is she has two appraisals. She has one appraisal which is all about the usual things, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, all that sort of stuff. Yep. But then she does this livability appraisal as well. So she can prove this house could be negotiated up in price or up in rental because the ongoing running costs are going to be less. And I do think it's like, it's what home staging was, I think back, well, now even to 10 years, 20 years ago, you wouldn't consider selling a property without prettying it up. I think now in the time that we're living in, the decision might be, well, do I want to stage it with a nice lounge, or do I want to put in some features, some livability features, which are going to reduce the ongoing running costs or the footprint for the next people in the house?
Yeah, look, and that makes it then attractive for both sides of the fence, whether it's an owner-occupier or an investor, because like as a tenant, you're going to want to look for sort of that most efficient property.
Yeah. So anyway, I was so impressed with Rachel that I asked her to come and talk to the guys at How to Lead a Winning Team in 2018.
Look, it's an interesting one. If I think anyone who wants to potentially look at almost like a near perfect list or appraisal to list ratio.
She's amazing. Like, just her professional approach to everything is amazing. And, like as we were just sort of talking about, what sort of a contribution do we want to make? I sort of think putting people like Rachel in front of everyone is the sort of contribution that we want to make as a business.
We had a couple of other people on the throughout the week as well, but it's also going to be part of the program. So Ben Fawkes from Ray White and Belconnen.
There's a name, Ray White again. It's the Ray White show this week.
And also Mark Earl from Buxton in Sandringham.
Both amazing principals and both, very sort of well-read stories as well online, both talking about how they've built sustainable businesses, both of them very accomplished salespeople. Mm-hmm. Both of them are saying, we could have made it the show about me. It could have been all about me, but instead what I'm doing now is I'm supporting my people.
It's taking that step back from the front line and letting the team and I think Ben was talking very much about hiring for that winning team as well. Some good stuff there. Ush also had chimed in to the discussion.
Yeah, so, she's obviously an expert in emotional intelligence and she's been very popular on our website all year. And, obviously, like this is – so she's the emotional intelligence piece and – there have been so many studies lately in Harvard Business Review and all that sort of thing that prove that emotionally intelligent leaders are more successful because they're able to motivate their teams better. And, and I think Mark and Ben are, they're actually the evidence that her story is correct. So She'll be at How to Lead a Winning Team as well.
And we've got, and also just to round out that panel of Mark, Ben and also Kate Strickland will be part of that panel.
Yeah, lovely to catch up with Kate again, who was on our cover a couple of years ago.
So get yourself amongst it. It's going to be a fantastic lineup at How to Lead a Winning Team 2018. Tickets are available on eliteagent.com.au/win 2018.
Yeah, that's it. Set yourself up for a great year next year. All right, so apparently, Mark, 30 minutes is the optimal time for a podcast. Yes. That's about all we've got time for this week.
That's it. The timer has rung.
The timer has rung. We're out of here. So everybody, hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, try and stay dry if you're in New South Wales. Elsewhere, have an awesome one.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
To subscribe to the magazine, visit eliteagent.com.au/